Our actions in Iraq, Libya, and Syria have helped unleash ISIS. And we're in a war against radical Islam, but President Obama won't even name the enemy. And unless you name the enemy, you will never, ever solve the problem.
Breaking tonight, that's Donald Trump with some strong words for the president on the fight against ISIS. Trump's foreign policy speech this week catapulting into focus the importance and the critical need for a strong leader in the war on terror. With me now is author of the new book, Defeating Jihad, The Winnable War, counterterrorism expert, Dr. Sebastian Gorka. Good evening, Doctor. All right. A lot of criticism of Donald Trump for that speech. And I don't want to go through the whole thing, but there's a couple of things that I think I can't seem to reconcile. Why do so many people have trouble with this presidential candidate saying America should be first?
Look, let me, for full disclosure, I advised Mr. Trump last year, and my wife is on Senator Cruz's national security team. So I'm in a rather unique position to judge. Why? Because he's really destroying the establishment, and I'm very happy for that. Both Senator Cruz and Donald Trump are shaking the establishment to the core, so the guns are going to come out blazing.
Now I'm going to stop you, Doctor. Cruz, he is part of the establishment. They just made a deal with another establishment, a governor, where they went in the back room and said, this is how we're going to divvy it up. You say you're out of Indiana, and you say, and then Kasich comes out and said, oh, no, that's not true. I want you to vote for me. I mean, talk about establishment backroom deals and collusion. That reeks. But I want to talk about Trump now, okay? And why did people take so much offense at his talking about America first?
Look, because there's a very strong establishment, especially the old Bush regime and the neoconservatives in this city where I am, who are petrified by this man potentially getting the White House and becoming the commander-in-chief. And they're using this hackneyed phrase of, America first being associated with the pro-Hitler regime. Look, this is absurd. Whatever you think of Donald Trump, we don't want America to be first. Really? That's what we've had in the last 7 years. That's the problem. And that's why people like Cruz, in my opinion, and Donald Trump are so successful right now, because they are defined against the catastrophe of the last 7 years foreign policy.
Okay, but when you've got Donald Trump talking about, not nation building, and then people being critical of him for saying that, and honestly, it's almost like Donald Trump is already pivoting left to the general election, because that's almost like, the Democrats are the ones who are saying we don't want a nation build, and yet you got Hillary Clinton on the other side being seen anyways, the hawk, given Libya and Iraq and everything else. So what's wrong with not intervening in every problem in the world?
In my opinion, absolutely nothing. I'm not a neoconservative, but that doesn't mean that everything is fine with Donald Trump's speech. So, of course, he's going to get flack from the establishment. Of course, we're going to see vested interests on the left and the right attack him because he doesn't belong to the establishment. But there were problems with that speech, Judge, especially when he spoke about China and Russia and our potential friendship and our shared interests. We don't have shared interests. I'm sorry.
We don't?
Even if they're killing. No, even if they're killing, terrorists.
We've got a common enemy, ISIS. Russia's the one that alerted us to the Tsarnaev brothers, the Boston bombers. We didn't listen to them to our detriment.
That doesn't make them our friends. This is a KGB colonel. This is the kind of guy who tortured people during the Cold War and who wanted to destroy us.
Why did Barack Obama and Hillary hit the reset button and allow them to take down the missile defense system?
As I said, you're not going to get me here defending the Obama administration. That's not going to happen. That's not going to happen.
Well, okay. You know what's interesting is that when in Russia, I was just reading this article. It was well received in Russia in Moscow's Red Square. Passerby speaking to CNN praised New York tycoon and hoping that there might be an easing of tensions as well. It's not like the deal we did with Iran, where they're like, kill the Americans, death to Israel, death to America. I mean, if you're going to have a rapprochement, maybe you ought to do it with Russia, not the people who sleep and dream of killing us.
Absolutely. The Iran deal is catastrophic for us. More than $100 billion to a regime that the president in March in an Arabic newspaper said he recognizes as a state sponsor of terrorism. What's wrong with that picture? We are giving more than $100 billion to a nation we know support terrorists. Yeah, again, I'm not going to defend the last 7 years. If the chair was empty, if the Oval Office was empty for the next 8 years, it would be an improvement, Judge.
Dr. Sebastian Gorka, thanks for being with us tonight.
Thank you.